The Melbourne Magistrates Court precinct descended into chaos this morning after an appearance from far-right nationalists accused of involvement in an insightful video. As Kieran Jones reports, the men were escorted from court by dozens of police.
Two groups refusing to change their tune. Clashes once again greeted Blair Cottrell, Neil Erikson and Christopher Shortis outside court.
Everyone is welcome here, except you!
If we don't stop them, we only need to look at 80 years ago at Nazi Germany to see what will happen.
The trio faced charges in relation to a 2015 video showing a mock beheading. Today's biggest commotion came when dozens of police pushed back media and escorted the accused half a block, despite the fact their opponents had already left.
Stop, let's stop. I really don't think this is necessary.
How ridiculous is this?
Police earlier checked IDs as part of beefed up security measures and used cameras of their own. Once inside, the defendants asked for future hearings to be moved to Bendigo and accused the prosecution of delaying justice.
Everything's dragged out longer than it needs to be dragged out.
Courtroom 2 was filled to capacity, with about 40 people crammed in to support the co-accused. At one point, the magistrate suggested the next available date for a hearing would be in September, at which point one of Mr Cottrell's supporters called out that it should be on September 11. Mr Erikson also wants to subpoena the Premier and the Chief Commissioner as witnesses in the case.
You either have freedom of speech or you don't. It's simple. You can't be half pregnant. I think it's a conspiracy against right-wing politics and conservative values.
I'll use the words of Jackie Lambie. Not on my bloody watch.
The trio will next appear in the Melbourne Magistrates Court on September 4.
We'll keep fighting, we won't give up, we'll keep rising. See you soon.
Kieran Jones, 9 News.
To the rest of the day's news now, and 3 men charged with inciting hatred against Muslims have caused chaotic scenes outside court. Anti-racism protesters confronted the members of the far-right United Patriots front, who are accused of staging a mock beheading.
Melbourne Magistrates Court fortified to keep the peace between anti-racism protesters and 3 men from the United Patriots front. One who arrived with a mate, then antagonised their opponents with a flag, which was ordered down, then seized. The angry protesters were small in number but big in voice.
Free the refugees!
Racism will not go unopposed.
Some of your team here are covering their faces. Why is that?
Oh, you'll have to ask them.
You don't know?
No.
Why are you covering your face? A mock beheading in Bendigo in 2015 led to charges of inciting hate against Muslims.
None of us hate Muslims. We have questioned the doctrine of Islam. For a state government to try and defend what is a grotesque theology which does not belong in Australia.
I'll be subpoenaing Premier Daniel Andrews and Graham Ashton, the Police Commissioner.
What do you think your chances are of getting them here?
Pretty much nil, but I'm going to try.
In a farcical but tense few minutes, police flanked the group as they left court.
Move away, please!
But they had no opposition. All were gone, except for one.
This is obviously a precedent case to perhaps install some sort of hate speech laws into Australia.
The men had about 50 supporters in court, many of them left standing. Outside, once the police pack moved on, the men gathered to debrief ahead of their next court appearance in September. Paul Dowsley, 7 News.